Every NFL quarterback's worst game from the 2022 NFL season. Now, before I start this video, I do need to apologize to all the Dallas Cowboy fans and Dak Prescott. In my last video, every NFL quarterback's best game from the 2022 NFL season, I somehow forgot to put in Dak Prescott. I'm really sincerely sorry. So to make it up to the Cowboys fans, I'm going to be giving Dak some extra screen time in this video by not only mentioning his worst game from last season, but also his second worst game from last season. Dak Prescott, week 1 against Tampa. I know Dak Prescott didn't play the full game, but he played up until 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He played well enough for this account as a full game for Dak Prescott. He led his team on 8 drives and only came out with 3 points. Prescott was 14 of 29 for a 48% completion rate, 134 yards, no touchdowns, the 1 interception for a rating of 47.2. Dak Prescott, week 18 against the Commanders. In comparison to the first game, at least Prescott had 2 touchdown passes in this game. However, 1 was for the Commanders. Last season, Cooper Rush came in for Prescott for 5 games against Philly, the Rams, the Commanders, the Giants, and the Bengals. Not free wins, and the only game they lost was against Philly, and it was still a 1-score game. So it's quite obvious that the root of the Cowboys' success last season had nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Prescott in this Week 18 matchup was 14 of 37 for a 37.84% completion rate, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick for a passer rating of 45.8. Joe Burrow, week 1 against the Steelers. I still can't believe Joe Burrow had a meltdown that was this bad. The game was still close because it was against the Steelers, but to make it worse, Kenny Pickett took the dub in overtime. Burrow threw 4 picks in this game and threw a pick 6 on the first throw of the 2022 season. Joe Burrow also faced some bad luck in this game as he tied the game up with seconds left in the clock. The Steelers blocked the extra point kick to send the game into overtime. Then in overtime, McPherson shanked the 29-yard game-winning field goal for the Bengals. Burrow was 33 of 53 for 338 yards, a 62.26% completion rate, 2 touchdowns but 4 interceptions, and took 7 sacks for 39 yards for a passer rating of 61.7. Aaron Rodgers, week 9 against Detroit. In my opinion, Rodgers had a terrible meltdown here and really threw away the game. Rodgers threw 3 bad red zone interceptions, and then to make it worse, at the end of the game, had a chance to win it with a touchdown with under a minute left and threw 4 straight incompletions with 40 seconds still on the clock. Rodgers was 23 of 43 for a 53% completion rate, 291 yards, a touchdown, the 3 picks for a 53.5 passer rating. Matthew Stafford, week 1 against the Bills. Don't really know what's up with these quarterbacks week 1, but apparently that's when they have their worst game. Stafford was still able to throw for a decent amount of yards, but did so while throwing 3 interceptions in their blowout week 1 loss against the Bills to start one of the worst, if not the worst, defending champs seasons ever. Stafford was 29 of 41, a 70% completion rate, 240 yards, a touchdown to 3 picks for a passer rating of 63.1 while taking 7 sacks for over 40 yards. Marcus Mariota, week 4 against the Browns. This game from Mariota was a total disaster. It was a miracle the Falcons won this game. They did so with over 200 rushing yards on the ground. Mariota was 7 of 19 for a 36% completion rate, 139 yards, no touchdowns, an interception for a rating of 41.3. Justin Herbert, the wild card round against the Jags. I think blowing a 27-point lead in the playoffs is just unforgivable, and in this game, Herbert didn't play as well as his stats portray. Sure, he led the Chargers to 3 touchdowns, but 2 of them started under 20 yards away from the end zone. Additionally, with the lead, he had 4 drives in the second half of this game and was only able to lead his team to 2 field goal attempts. Herbert was 25 of 43 for a 58% completion rate, his second lowest of the season, 273 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions for an 84.7 passer rating. And honestly, Herbert didn't play horrible. It was pretty hard to pick a bad game for Herbert as most of the season he was really consistent and only threw for under 200 yards once, and it was at 196 yards. Davis Mills, week 11 against the Commanders. In this blowout loss against the Commanders, Davis Mills was on the struggle bus. He was 19 of 33 for a 57% completion rate, was only able to lead his team to 10 points, 169 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a 46.1 passer rating, taking 5 sacks for 42 yards, and his second throw of the game was a pick six. Daniel Jones, the divisional round against the Philadelphia Eagles. Daniel Jones got torn limb from limb against the Philadelphia Eagles. He never stood a chance. I think this game sobered some people up, as some people were riding Daniel Jones a little high after they beat the Minnesota Vikings there in the wild card round. Jones was 15 of 27 for a 55% completion rate, only 135 yards, no touchdowns to an interception, with 5 sacks for a rating of 53.8. Matt Ryan, week 2 against the Jags. I don't really even know how to describe how bad this game was for the Colts. Ryan was 16 of 30 for a 53% completion rate, 195 yards, with 3 interceptions, 5 sacks for a passer rating of 34. Lamar Jackson, week 6 against the Giants. Honestly, Lamar didn't really have a bad game last season, but I chose this one as he kind of threw the game away at the end. Up by 3 with 3 minutes left in the game. 3rd and 6, he fumbled the snap and on the run made a bad throw when he just should have just thrown it away, and it was intercepted by the Giants, leading them for an easy score to take the lead. Then down 4 with a minute left, he fumbled the ball, sealing the win for the Giants. He was 17 of 32, 53% completion rate, 210 yards, a touchdown. Just the interception and the 2 fumbles really hurt the team. Derek Carr, week 14 against the Rams. 3 games I was looking at for Derek Carr's worst game from last season. 2 games he threw 3 picks and they lost. This game he threw 2 picks and they still lost, but it was really only 1 pick, as the last throw was a Hail Mary interception. I chose this game because after gaining a 13-point lead with his last 5 drives of the game, he threw an interception and only led his team to 3 points and was outplayed by Baker Mayfield, who learned the playbook for the Rams overnight. Additionally, that interception was horrible, super costly in the red zone. 11 of 20 for 55% completion rate, only 137 yards, and 2 picks for a 36.9 passer rating. Jalen Hurts, week 18 against the Giants. Honestly, this was the only bad game from Jalen Hurts last season, and he had an excuse from it as well, as he was out for the 2 weeks prior due to injury. And it wasn't even that bad. I chose this one because he didn't throw the ball particularly well, had an interception, no touchdown, and had 9 rush attempts for only 13 yards. Baker Mayfield, week 11 against the Ravens. Baker Mayfield fell apart in week 11 as he was only able to lead the Panthers to 3 points on 11 drives, while taking a sack on 4th and 7, then throwing an interception on the last 2 drives of the game. 21 of 33, 196 yards, no touchdowns to 2 interceptions, while taking 4 sacks and only scoring his team 3 points. Jacoby Brissett, week 6 against the Patriots. Brissett did not throw the ball particularly well in this game. Additionally, it was a blowout as the game was over before the 4th quarter began. Brissett was 21 of 45 for a 46% completion rate, 266 yards, a touchdown to 2 interceptions for a rating of 54.5 while taking 4 sacks. Kirk Cousins, week 17 against the Packers. It was either this game or week 2 against Philly. In both he had a fumble, in both he had 3 interceptions, in both he had a 58% completion rate. I just think this one was a lot worse. It's later in the season and a divisional rival. Cousins was 18 of 31 for a 58% completion rate, 205 yards, a touchdown to 3 interceptions for a passer rating of 49.2. And I apologize to Vikings fans, but who thought the Vikings were going to beat the Giants in the playoffs when 2 weeks before that they lost 41-17 to the Packers, who weren't even making the playoffs? Additionally, one of the touchdowns was 20 seconds left in the game. 41-10 was really the real score. Jared Goff, week 5 against the Patriots. In this game, Jared Goff was unable to lead his team to any points. Additionally, his offense was 0 for 6 on 4th down conversions. Goff was 19 of 35 for a 54% completion rate, over 200 yards, no touchdowns, an interception. He took 2 sacks for a passer rating of 62.7. The red zone interception killed him, and the fumble returned for a touchdown killed him. Mac Jones, week 15 against the Raiders. Mac Jones in this game was 13 of 31 for a 41% completion rate, 112 yards, no touchdowns, no interception, a passer rating of 52.1, and at the end of the game, he got his manhood taken from him as the Raiders won as time expired. Tua Tagovailoa, Week 14 against the Chargers. This was one of the few bad games Tua had last season. In this game, he was just a brick, could not connect with anyone downfield. Tua was 10 of 28 for a 35% completion rate, 145s and a touchdown, a 65.3 passer rating. Honestly, this was a pretty boring game. I know the Dolphins still put up 17 points, but Tua really wasn't a part of it. Kyler Murray, Week 6 against Seattle. Murray did have 100 yards of rushing in this game, but that was the only highlight as he was terrible on 3rd or 4th down. He either took a sack, threw an incompletion, or threw an interception. He also turned the ball over with a fumble and was only able to lead his offense to 9 points in this game, and with 4 minutes left in the game threw 2 incompletions to seal the loss for the Cardinals. Kyler was 23 of 37 for a 62% completion rate, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, fumble loss, and a passer rating of 67. Patrick Mahomes, Week 3 against the Colts. Patrick Mahomes and honestly the whole Kansas City Chiefs team was a bit off in this game. Mahomes on 11 drives was only able to lead his team to 17 points, but just nothing was going the Chiefs' way. A muff punt by Sky Moore, a missed extra point kick. They went for it on 4th and 10 with a fake field goal attempt. That didn't work out. Mahomes was 20 of 35 for a 57% completion rate. One of 2 games last season where he was under 60%, 202 yards, a touchdown, and he was picked off on the last play of the game for a rating of 78.5. This was probably the weirdest upset of all last season. Russell Wilson, Week 5 against the Colts. Probably the most embarrassing game from 2022 for any quarterback. Russell Wilson, you're at home against the Colts. Thursday Night Football. Remember, the Colts won 4 games last season. Only 4 games. Your defense holds the Colts to 9 points, and you can't win the game. You go into overtime. The Colts kick a field goal. Then in overtime, in the red zone, 4th and 1, you throw an incompletion in the red zone. Just an unlucky game. Wilson was 21 of 39 for a 53% completion rate, 274 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions for a 54.9 passer rating. He also took 4 sacks. Ryan Tannehill, Week 2 against the Bills. Tannehill led the Titans to a touchdown on the first drive of the game, and then after that, for the next 11 drives, did not put up a single point. Then later in the game, Tannehill would get picked off on back-to-back drives to go on to lose 41-7. 11 of 20 for a 55% completion rate, 117 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions for a 32.7 passer rating while taking 2 sacks. If only the Titans had a quarterback. Taylor Heineke, Week 10 against the Eagles. This one may come as a surprise as the Commanders ended up winning this game and took down the Eagles for their first loss of the season. Heineke didn't even play that bad. However, statistically, this was his worst game of the season. It's kind of hard to pick a worst game for Heineke as all of his games were just kind of mid. Not really bad, but not really good. And sure, the Commanders won, but at what cost? Taylor was 17 of 29 for a 58% completion rate, 211 yards, no touchdowns to an interception for a 66.9 passer rating with 3 sacks. Josh Allen, Week 9 against the Jets. The biggest part of this game that we all remember is Josh Allen's 2 red zone interceptions. Allen was just off his mark in this game as he was 18 of 34 for a 52% completion rate, 205 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, taking 5 sacks for a passer rating of 46.8. Geno Smith, Week 18 against the Rams. My hot take is that Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks were lucky to get into the playoffs and win this game. Geno Smith did not play well. He still had a great season, but he did not play well in this game whatsoever. Luckily for him, Baker Mayfield somehow played even worse than him, and the refs sold. But as you can tell, I'm not even mad about it, and I'm so over it. Geno Smith was 19 of 31 for a 61% completion rate, 213 yards and a touchdown. He was picked off twice, should have been 3 times, 3 sacks for a passer rating of 65.7 in their 19-16 win over the Rams to send them into the wildcard round. And Smith made up for it for having a good game against the Niners. I'm not being sarcastic, they led at halftime. He played a great game, just the Niners were a lot better. Justin Fields, Week 3 against Houston. 3-win Bears team was lucky to beat this 3-win Texans team. Justin Fields was 8 of 17 for a 47.06 completion rate, 106 yards, no touchdowns to 2 interceptions for a passer rating of 27.7, taking 5 sacks for 24 yards. He did have 8 rush attempts for 47 yards, just the 8 for 17. and the 2 interceptions against the Texans is rough. Zach Wilson, Week 16 against the Jags. In this Week 16 matchup, Zach Wilson was only able to lead his offense to 3 points. And those 3 points came off of a fumble, putting him inside the 30-yard line, so essentially he didn't lead his offense to any points. Wilson was 9 of 18 for a 50% completion rate, 92 yards, no touchdown, an interception, 3 sacks for 21 yards for a passer rating of 41.9. He just loves to throw it up into double coverage for it to get intercepted or for it to be incomplete. Jimmy Garoppolo, Week 3 against Denver. It wasn't easy picking a bad game for Jimmy Garoppolo as he was really good through all the games he played. I picked this game because the San Francisco defense held the Denver offense to just 11 points, and he wasn't able to put up more than 10. And the excuse for Jimmy, Denver, top 5 defense, it's in Mile High City. Garoppolo's 18 of 29 for a 62% completion rate, 211 yards, a touchdown, an interception, took 4 sacks for a passer rating of 81.3, so not a bad worst game to have. Trevor Lawrence, Week 5 against Houston. Losing to Houston is one thing, but only putting up 6 points against Houston is another story. A red zone fumble by Etienne hurt, and a red zone interception by Lawrence hurt as well. Lawrence was 25 of 47 for a 53% completion rate, 286 yards, no touchdown, really 1 interception. The other one comes from a Hail Mary, for a passer rating of 54. Tom Brady, Week 14 against the 49ers. 49ers defense tore Tom Brady apart limb for limb, as Tom Brady was also unable to throw the ball pretty much at all. He was able to lead his team to 1 touchdown late in the 3rd quarter, and it was a dropped interception. Brady was 34 of 55 for a 61% completion rate, 253 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions for a passer rating of 63.7. Kenny Pickett's Week 7 against Miami. Pickett struggled against a weak Miami defense and was picked off 3 times in this game, including the last 2 drives of the game with a chance to take the lead. He was 32 of 44 for a 72% completion rate, 257 yards, which seems decent, and he threw a touchdown, but he's picked off 3 times, sacked twice, which the interceptions totally changed this game. If he doesn't throw 3 picks and turns those into touchdowns, whole different story. Andy Dalton, Week 10 against Pittsburgh. Andy Dalton in this game was 17 of 27 for a 62% completion rate, 174 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks for a passer rating of 62.9. His stats weren't that bad, but it's his worst game because the last 3 drives, he threw an interception, turned the ball over on downs, and then threw another interception to seal the loss. That is the end for each quarterback's worst game from last season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And once again, as always, thanks for watching.